The budget smartphone market in Nigeria is heating up right now that entry-level models are rolling out across different smartphone brands. After a pretty interesting 2023 for budget phones, companies are eager to tap into pent-up demand among cost-conscious Nigerian consumers who want a device with good specs without breaking the bank. The Redmi 14C is quite an interesting smartphone in that category with great specs on paper. But as we all know, specs on paper doesn't always tell the whole story. So is the Redmi 14C a better value proposition? Or if you've got the 13C from last year, should you upgrade? Let's find out. The Redmi 14C starts at 134,600 Naira and goes up to 174,600, which are within the Redmi 13C's price range as at the time of making this review. For that price, you get the latest Helio G81 Ultra processor, which I'll talk about later, up to 8 gigs of RAM and also up to 256 gigs of storage space. It also got a 50 megapixel main camera, a 120Hz refresh rate, and then a 5160 mAh battery. Now, while this might seem minor in comparison to the Redmi 13C, it altogether makes a better user experience, but that doesn't mean that it's a perfect budget device in any way. The 14C comes in yet another aesthetically pleasing design. It also comes in 3 choices of materials for its back panel. So whether you like a plastic rare finish, a leather rare finish, or a glass back design, you can't go wrong here. Plus, these two aren't fingerprint magnets or track smudges. However, stay away from the black color variant. You won't like the ugly side when things get dirty due to fingerprint marks and smudges. One of the things I found quite interesting about the 14C, which might not actually be significant but it is somehow, are the contents in the retail box. You now have a clear TPU case inside the box, and this fits the device so well with added grip. It's quite unconventional from Redmi, as they usually add this for their Note series. Maybe some days we'll be seeing a pair of headphones inside the box as well. Just kidding. Still in the box is a 33-watt fast charging brick. Now the 14C charges at 18 watts, but Redmi decided to be generous by giving us a faster charging brick in the box, instead of nothing like some other brands these days. This charges the device from 0 to 50% in 40 minutes and 1 hour 14 minutes to 100%, which isn't that bad for that battery capacity. However, the screen resolution is still at 720 pixels, still an IPS LCD display, but now with a 120Hz refresh rate, which is good. But I'll say 1080 pixel with 90Hz refresh rate would have been a better feature for that massive screen size. As for the viewing experience, I stream a couple of shows on Netflix as well as videos on YouTube, and it performed basically fine for a passive media entertainment. However, viewing experience outdoors under direct sunlight was a struggle, as the 450 nits of brightness and Max 600 HBM wasn't good enough for sunlight legibility. As let's say, the Redmi 14C runs on the latest Helio G81 Ultra chipset. Looking at the AnTuTu scores, this processor isn't much of an upgrade to the Helio G85 processor on the 13C, as we can see from the scores, with the G85 having the highest score here. On Geekbench tests, still no significant numbers against the G85 on the 13C, so in my opinion this isn't an upgrade. However, you can still game on the 14C. eFootball ran pretty smoothly on standard to 60Hz graphics settings. However, I recommend going for the 6 gigs or 8 gigs configuration, as mine is the 4 gig variant. The more RAM size, the better experience, but if you're a casual user, the base model will do just fine. The Redmi 14C isn't much of an upgrade in terms of the cameras. The selfie camera though was improved from 8 megapixel to 13 megapixel, while the main camera stays at 15 megapixel. Picture quality doesn't look much different from what you'll have on the 13C. These photos aren't winning any contest, but they get the job done for social media. You don't need to keep a steady hand when shooting, and when you get that right, the Redmi 14C can occasionally surprise you with some pretty decent shots in good lighting conditions. Performance-wise, the Redmi 14C might not seem as much of an upgrade from the 13C, but for what it costs, it isn't a bad phone. The design is decent and the performance gets the job done. However, if you're currently using the Redmi 13C, I wouldn't suggest upgrading unless you just feel like having the 14C for a change. But if you're a new user to the Redmi space, yes, it's all worth its price to performance ratio. So that's it guys, my review of the Redmi 14C. I hope you got value watching it. As always, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.